Learning Objective 5, using the financial planning process to build a financial plan. The financial planning process lends itself through establishing the relationship, gathering data, analyzing goals, delivering recommendations and alternatives, communicating those recommendations, and implementing the plan. Those are really our key 6 steps towards building a plan. And then we have monitoring and practicing professionally on the back end. Well, we can actually build a financial plan, a physical plan that we deliver or electronic plan we deliver to a client using those steps. It's fairly straightforward. We start with engaging the client. We're going to, what are we going to work on with the client? What are we not going to work on? We're going to establish goals in the planning relationship. Once we have those goals, we're going to move forward. So we have your goals. We're going to gather data, gather financial information. We're going to look at a cash flow statement, a net worth statement. We're going to look at your taxes. And we're going to get all your resources together. What do we have available to use towards planning these goals? Well, once we've set the goals and we know what we have available, we can match resources with goal allocation. So we know how much cash flow you have to save for education. We can start saving for education. So the analysis is a function of getting the right data. And once we have the analysis, we can make recommendations. But we have to remember, recommendations must be accompanied by alternatives. It's also very important at this stage in the game that we communicate any assumptions we made. In absence of perfect data, which we'll really very rarely have perfect data, we're going to have to make some assumptions. So whenever we have recommendations in a plan, if there's any assumptions we made, such as future rates of return, such as any sort of inflation assumption, that those are stated, that they're defensible, and that they're an important part of the financial plan. Assumptions are critical in the financial planning process, in inflation in particular. We look historically at inflation, we could say, well, inflation's averaged around 3.5%. But if we use 2 with a client, that client could be in a situation where they fall short 5, 10, 15, 20 years out. So we need to make sure our assumptions are in line with reality the best we can. After we've stated recommendations, alternatives, we've got our assumptions in, then it's time for implementation. Implementation, very clearly stated, what exactly is the action to be taken? Sell a position, buy a position, get a paramed exam done, meet with an attorney. And we have these very specific action items because it's easy for the client to move forward and check them off until the plan is completed. And the financial planning process lends itself towards having a broad-based, goal-based financial plan. But the financial planning process is somewhat limited, and that is a goal-driven process. And the goal-driven process, if it's the client's goals, they may not actually reflect the risks of harm that the client faces.